Thank you for watching, and remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for your support.
Rainfall, and that's something that we have to watch on the radar trends today. Here's what's happening right now, where you see the reds and where you see the oranges. Those are some of the bigger rainfall rates. The kind of rain which comes down in sheets, is difficult to drive in. That is pretty much almost all of I-10, by the way. There's some spots where it lessens up a little bit, but it's still raining. You're not turning off your wipers at all throughout the entire stretch of Louisiana. Now here's a look at Beaumont and Orange, Texas, and Port Arthur, where we are under a flash flood warning. We've been in some of that really heavy rainfall. A lot of it has pushed off to our east and lifted north, but we're still in at least some steady rain in the area. So certainly going to be dealing with some challenges. This is how much has fallen in the past 6 hours. And where you see the yellow and the orange, that's 3 to 5 inches. Now, 3 inches, pretty widespread from the Bolivar Peninsula over to Port Arthur, with a little bit less up to the north. But where you've seen the big rain already, and now we're adding to it, that's where we'll have the bigger issues today. Baton Rouge, the rain is really starting to pick up here. Morgan City, your rain is really starting to pick up, and your rainfall rates are starting to increase here as well. And so we'll keep an eye on any flash flood concerns. You're in that likely area. Alex, the high risk does include places like Lake Charles and Orange and Beaumont, so watching the radar especially closely there today. Forecast here and show you how things progress throughout the day, starting with where we are right now, where then this is what Paul was talking about, where we do have that really heavy rainfall right in there. That's lifting north, but then look what's just off to the south of it as well. Another area of enhanced rainfall that also is pivoting up to the north. So that's what we got to watch. We also have to watch some of these other outer bands too. I mean, look at this enhancement right in there, where you have some of the oranges and the reds on the radar. Those are some bigger and higher rainfall rates, the kind that could potentially cause flash flooding. You got to watch the rate. I mean, having that plain old green rain everywhere all day may not be that big of a deal, right? But when you get into the heavier rainfall rates, that's when things start to get overwhelmed. So here's the latest flash flood warning: Baytown, League City, Pasadena. Yes, the worst of the rain is out of here, but you've seen some of the scenes there with those bayous that are up there.
All right, thanks so much, Paul. We'll check back with you in a bit. And no doubt, it is a dangerous day when it comes to that flood.
Yeah, no doubt here. Paul, thank you for that. And I want to talk about some of the rainfall, how much
a road that is filled with water. And we could be seeing more scenes like that because we're looking for more rain to add up here for us over the coming days. Lots of rain in the areas. Jen, I mean, this is a spot that just needs no more weather worries.
No, exactly. No weather. Not just no rain, no weather. We just need a break, New Orleans. Unfortunately, this is what's coming our way today. It gets worse throughout the day with those heavier bands coming in, bringing in the heavy rainfall. And of course, the risk for flash flooding. And we got to keep an eye on additional power outages as well. Where are we going with Nicholas? Because we know that it's being a big rainmaker at the moment. And really, that's going to be, I think, what it is known for. Although it brought some decent surge and wind where it made landfall. We saw Chris Bruin shots, right? And the damage done there by water and surge. Here's where it is right now. It is located very close to downtown Houston, but look at how all the rain is displaced off to the east.
Yeah, a lot of the rain issues are really tapering off around Houston, but east, I mean, we're spreading all the way into even southern parts of Mississippi, some of this rain at this time, and more to come as this thing slowly works its way east. I mean, this is basically the cone that goes through Thursday, and you notice it's still essentially not too far from where it is now.
The atmosphere is just saturated with all this tropical moisture here and the circulation in place. If you have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere and there's something to make it rain, which we have, that tropical disturbance, that is going, well, it's a tropical storm at the moment, that is going to mean a high likelihood of flooding and flash flooding. And that's why we do have likely all the way up to Alexandria in Louisiana.
Yeah, it's a large zone that is going to be facing that. And of course, we're still not done with the rest of the tropics, a couple of other entities that we are following. This area here around the Bahamas, we're going to keep an eye on that potential development, and another invest that's come off the coast of Africa.
Yeah, so this has a 60% chance in the next 5 days of developing. And what's interesting about this area near the Bahamas is where it's going and the fact that we've got a front that's dropping down at the same time. Does the front pull up some of this moisture, even if it doesn't interact directly with the tropical disturbance or whatever it is, could it bring more moisture into the northeast? We don't want that.
That is a big question here for us. But we'll watch it. Moisture moving north, the front coming from the north. Will it stay offshore?
That it's going to stick around for a while, which is why we do have this risk of flooding. And in fact, it is a high risk. That's the area in red on this map. Beaumont, Cameron, Lake Charles, all areas watching orange, Texas, Port Arthur, and this as well. And even in the yellow area, it's likely that we'll see some spots with flash flooding. But in that one spot where we have the high risk, we know that there's a likelihood that we'll have some spots that get flood damage today. And unfortunately, high risk days also bring the risk of deaths as well. So 44% of the yearly flood deaths happen on high risk days. And 86% of the time when you get a death in floodwaters, it involves walking or driving into floodwaters. That seems preventable right here, so make some really good decisions today. Stay put if you can and avoid driving. I know you have to go to work, right? And that's always a challenge, but if you could at all possible stay home and stay off the roadways, do that. We've got flash flood watches up all across southern Louisiana and still parts of Texas too. Even though the rain is lessening, we still have some rain falling there. We've already had 6 inches of rain in Houston. We've had 13 inches of rain in Galveston, so certainly the damage done. But today, the game is in Louisiana with the heavy rainfall coming on in. Alex mentioned those flash flood warnings that are in effect there in the Houston area. I think we'll see that kind of situation set up for you today, and then potentially into tomorrow, too, across southeast Louisiana. Nicholas is not really going too far. It's going to stay right here, and that circulation will be there, but more importantly, the moisture will be there. So cranking out the rainfall, very saturated atmosphere, will lead to a widespread 3 to 5 inches of rain. 5 to 8 is possible, and locally higher amounts. So if someone gets a foot of rainfall, that is not out of the question for us here, Alex, and that's something we'll watch for those flash flood warning type situations.
Absolutely.